Very annoying that I shoot a video and I have to freaking go to another application and it shuts off in the middle of it. Anyway, I got out of Target. This is part 2. You missed the Target trip, but went shopping. I got a gift from my wife for our anniversary, which I know she'll be happy with. And just basing how I feel off how I felt a year ago. Today in Target, I felt probably 10 to 15% better than I did last year. Definitely moved the needle, but not really. Didn't feel like I wanted to feel. I felt very calm, but very just lost.
Welcome to Starbucks. What can I get for you?
Yes, can I get a medium half-calf iced latte with
Medium half-calf iced latte
yes, sir, with coconut milk.
with coconut milk. Can I get you anything else?
That's all.
All right, that'll be $4.96. We'll see it for one, yeah.
Thank you.
Get your change.
But just I was saying just a few weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, I was probably at a point of having points where I felt in the neighborhood of 40% better. I have a scale on a 1 to 10, and at my worst 6 years ago, when I came off of
Can I get you anything else?
sorry.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Here you go.
Appreciate it.
Would you like your receipt?
Nah, nothing.
Hold it up for you just a moment.
All right. But yeah, last year I spent about 3 years in a perpetual dizzy, foggy hell prison. Depersonalized, derealized, and I also spent years in chronic pain. So the person that is me now is constantly scared of doing something to get back to that point. So ultimately, I don't want to feel that way ever again, obviously. So I say in a perpetual state of anxiety, fearing that eating chocolate is going to make me worse, or eating gluten, or doing this or that. Which the irony is, thanks man, appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a nice day.
You too, man. The irony is that because of that fear, it actually, oh shoot. The fear is really the catalyst and the stress that causes me to go back. Like, as an example, I was so terrified of everything when I had my bladder flare. I had some doctors telling me to not eat soy and go on this IC diet, and so I was scared to eat soy. I was scared to eat grain. I was scared to drink coffee. Scared to have caffeine. It just sort of became scared to do anything. Lifting weights would aggravate it. Running would aggravate it. And then I realized that the fear was worse than it was the fear probably keeping me sick. And then online became torture because I sort of like absorbed everybody's story. Like I met this guy, he's got bad depersonalization through my channel. So I'm constantly like, oh my gosh, I'm like him, or I'm gonna be like him. I have a tendency to absorb some of the symptoms other people have, and most of the time, at night and in the morning, I feel very clear. I feel pretty well. So I should be grateful that I have that. I never look at those things and say, I'm grateful I have the nights and the mornings that I feel well and calm. So being thankful for those little things in those windows, like I had a week, I was feeling so good about 3 or 4 weeks ago, well, probably about 5 weeks ago. I was literally singing in CVS. I was like dancing, and I never do that. I was actually feeling happy. My happiness was coming back. My memory was improving. Just everything was improving to a point where I started neglecting the things that were helping me improve. Quite possibly there was some nootropics that I was taking that may have been helping, as well as the guided imagery. And as you start to feel better, that's really all it takes for some people. And like for me, I'll start to feel improvement, and then I know, oh wow, you know, I'm good. So I get really excited, and with that, I'll be able to push myself a little bit more, drive a little bit farther, and then I overdo. But my burnout was building for so many years. You have to understand, if you're under chronic stress, if it's chronic pain or it's chronic anxiety, and you're chronically stressed and worried and scared, you're causing damage to your brain, and it sucks. So you gotta do whatever you can to survive. And a good example of like medication I was talking about earlier, I know I'm getting sidetracked, but to see my grandfather's change was life-changing, because when my grand passed away, if he hadn't changed, he would have nobody. He'd be alone. But now he does have people that come around and care for him and stuff. He would not have changed if it wasn't for medication. He would have died an alone and miserable old man. If I had not gotten on gabapentin at a time in my life where my skin was burning so bad that I thought that I was melting, and I'm a driven person, I was doing it all. But if I had not gotten on that gabapentin, which absolutely obliterated my anxiety, it really did. I didn't get on it for anxiety relief. I got on it for my burning skin after I got off of Xanax. And I was gonna be in a box 6 feet deep. I was gonna kill myself. No doubt about it. I had suffered so many years of chronic pain, and I was so miserable and mean and angry and irritable and cranky, and it wasn't something I could control. People don't understand that. I was not me. I could not control and still have hard times with that during these periods of stress and burnout. I just don't have any executive function. Like, I can't think straight, and I get really angry and irritable, and I'm just a dick. But I got on gabapentin, and I got up to a dose, and the burning went away. It became a lot. I was also taking St. John's wort, and I think it was the combination, but that summer was absolutely life-changing. And had I not got on that was the best trip I had with my grandmother. And until the day I die, I'll be grateful to that medication, because when I look at those pictures, I look at a lot of pictures on Facebook sort of like last night I cried. I cried all night. And I was looking at pictures and and I could remember the pain, because your brain remembers that. It's ironic, but I remembered the pain of every picture that I was in, even the ones I was smiling in. And then I went farther back, and then I saw pictures where I was actually happy. And every picture I was happy, and I was holding my wife, and I was smiling, beach at night and stuff. That was all before I gave up cigarettes and drinking alcohol. That was all when I was on a low dose medication and self-medicating with other recreational things, being alcohol and cigarettes. After I got clean off everything, every memory was this distorted, foggy hell. And I hate to admit that. I wanted to be that guy that said, oh man, yeah, running saved my life. This saved my life. Not everybody's that guy. I wanted to be that guy for you guys. But no, gabapentin wasn't perfect. I didn't really have any side effects, actually. I felt quite manic on it, but that could have been the St. John's wort, I don't know, but felt very speedy, and I still felt very foggy, but I already was so fogged out of my skull before I got it. So actually it kind of cleared up the fog a little bit, but it was definitely not doing enough for me. And I got down to such a low dose that I've just been scared to take a high dose, so and I stayed on a very low dose just to keep my burning away, which is sort of all it was doing. And then my depression was still very terrible, and I just felt so god awful. Gosh, so much traffic on my exit. What the heck? I almost got in a wreck. Ah, please don't hit me. Wow, must be an accident. And looking at the pictures when I was on gabapentin, I took my grandma to a lighthouse. I took her out to dinner, and they weren't really fake memories. I actually was kind of enjoying that time. I definitely wasn't a 7, and I have the scale from, like I said, a 7 is like normal. It's just your normal person. It's the normal me that I was before all this happened. When you get above a 7, those are the people that just like have really good energy. Just really, 7's just a typical American, and then like your 8s and 9s, I mean, that's really like high stuff. 10 is like, perfection. So no one really ever reaches a 10. 10 is like Eckhart Tolle, people that have like enlightenment and stuff like that. I just want to be a 6 or a 7. 6 is the highest I've gotten to, and maybe even in the 6.2 range. But anyway, during that time, I was probably I had gone from a 1 to like a 5, and going from a 1 or a -1, -2 to a 5, that's a big ass change. And even though you're not a 7, I had no pain at all. I was sleeping well, and I was doing things. I was like, come on, Graham, let's go out to dinner. And I was going out to lunch. These are things that I don't do anymore, that I don't do really. Very often. But I was like, let's go do this and this and this and this and this. So to go from a -2 to a 5, you're elated. You're elated. I mean, I was able to do things I didn't think I was going to ever do again. And I had a very enjoyable trip. And, but then I started trying to come down on my med, and up and down I went on it because I didn't want to be on the medication. I wanted to be off meds. So I stayed on a dose that the doctor said wasn't even good for dogs. I mean, I was on like 300 milligrams a day. And I just stayed foggy and miserable. But I tried, man. Like, I joined Uber. I drove. I just dealt with my anxiety. I did it. I went and did everything I needed to do every day. And like I said before, and that's when I got on. I get on the soapbox, but that's when I jumped on Lamictal, and that's really what changed my life for a period of time. But medication only seemed to help to a certain threshold, and then you have to either up your dosage or find another way to get back down or lower that threshold. But back to holidays. Holidays are very hard because for many years I haven't enjoyed them. I used to just go to my grandma's and start drinking and have a hell of a good time, have a lot of fun. Bonfires, taking shots in the garage, just really enjoying myself, enjoying my family, just having fun. My whole family drinks, and we just drank, and that was my life. We just had a good time. We just had a great time. And that's how it was. And I quit drinking and quit smoking, and I just went home for holidays and was absolutely devastatingly miserable. But I was sober. But anyway, I found Lamictal. When I actually was on that, I had that period of time where I felt I became a 6. And when I went from a 6 to a 5, basically I probably was hovering between a 4 and a 5 on gabapentin, and then I was somewhere in a 6 and between a 6.5. I almost felt completely normal at a lot of times. In conjunction with exercise and cardio and all that other stuff, I was doing really well, and I was actually seeing a therapist too at the time. So all those things and having redeveloped and made roots in a comfort zone really was elevating me to a point where I never thought of. I was driving up to 2 hours by myself, but really my comfort was about an hour, by myself. And I really started thinking I could travel again, that I could fly again, I could do so many things. But anyway, the holidays are, especially if you're alone or you're not able to be with your family, or even if you are and you're pushing yourself to be with your family and you're miserable and you're sitting there and you're just looking at everybody else having so much fun at these events, and even if you push yourself and you're at the event and you're just absolutely miserable, like I've done. I got to a point where I just didn't want to push myself. I was like, I feel better at home. I'm too tired to go out. But I probably need to push myself a little bit. And by the way, last night I did go out to dinner. I had a huge presentation. I had a lot of stress leading up to it, and it actually went really well. And but then I came home and I took the stress of all those days, and then I took it out on my wife, and it was not good. So I bought her a present. A lot of times with me and her, it'll get to a point where we seem like we're gonna break, and then it actually makes us stronger. And tonight I was hoping she gets off work early, because last night I was just laying there like thinking I could do anything. After a while, after I cried it all out, and I went on running a mile and actually drank a third of a beer, which I don't know if that did it or what, but I felt very good, felt pretty good. And I felt like, I texted her and I said, if you get off our work early enough, let's go out to that haunted hayride. So we'll see how I feel. But if she does get off, then we might be able to go do that and then have a good time together. It's been a wild ride. Oh my gosh, my garage is open. Shit. But life keeps on going. So anyway, I'll keep you guys updated. I'm in a little bit of a lull. I'm in definitely a lull. I was up, now I'm down, and all that was stress. I did a meditation today, and when I woke up from it, I had about 30 minutes of extreme clarity. And anyway, signing off.